Good evening, folks. It's been weeks since I have aired or posted any significant podcast for September, and I do apologize for this. However, it is not that I have lost interest in producing thought-provoking insights on the ongoings in the government, our political leadership, and the current crises in this country, but rather I have drawn the ire and attention of Facebook again, because as I am growing my subscriber base, and if people are willing to hear what I have to say, then it is obvious I am becoming a thorn in the side of the Facebook community standards overlords and their ideologues. However, it is my podcast on the government activities, such as the infamous behavior and activities on behalf of the Democratic Party and the Biden administration in their raid on Mar-a-Lago, the building of an IRS small army as provided in the Inflation Reduction Act, and most recently, my interest in Hunter Biden and his laptop. What I want to talk about is the Martha's Vineyard incident of September 14th, in which 50 illegal aliens were flown from Florida, compliments of Governor Ron DeSantis. First, let's understand what a sanctuary city is. A sanctuary city is neither a dictionary term nor a designated definition for the reason why it is being used in the U.S. currently. It simply implies a city in North America whose municipal laws try to protect illegal, undocumented immigrants from getting deported or prosecuted. This protection is provided despite the existence of federal immigration law. The presence of sanctuary cities is abundant in the United States. It should be noted that approximately 39 cities, including Las Vegas, Tucson, New York, Boston, and Chicago, and 364 counties, mainly in California, Colorado, New York, Oregon, and Washington, are sanctuary cities. Florida recently banned sanctuary cities in their state. And why do you think Florida banned sanctuary cities? Well, first of all, the Biden administration has conveniently promoted an open doors policy without any funding to those cities that are affected by this influx or invasion of illegal and undocumented immigrants. However, Governor Ron DeSantis has really put his foot down and said, you know what? Not on my watch. And for a good reason, because your tax dollars, my tax dollars, are being utilized to allow illegal and undocumented aliens who are not vetted, not even tested for COVID-19, nothing. So we have to flip the bill for people that we don't have the capacity, even in the most humane way, to take care of, to provide the type of infrastructure and support required. But hey, this is what liberal Democrats and the Biden administration are proposing and continue to enforce, while denying the fact that there is a problem at the southern border. Now, Martha Vineyard's residents were the infuriated recipients of these migrants who were mostly from Venezuela and who spoke little to no English, according to Barbara Rush of St. Andrew's Church. However, with that said, the residents were up in arms. Although the state receives federal funding for the infrastructure needed to support immigrants, the reaction brings the question, where was the infrastructure on September 14th? Or the funding this locale received in lieu of their sanctuary city status? And like clockwork, the media made their presumptions of how this 50-person burden was unfair, although Texas shares 99.9% of the challenges with little to no support from the federal government. Immediately, the local government officials alerted the media that Martha's Vineyard, the island paradise of the rich and shameless, were up in arms of this unannounced arrival of immigrants to their piece of heaven. So bad was the reaction that the National Guard was activated. Now, don't you find that insane? That you have these liberal Democrats, blue states, that have a sanctuary city status, and they're not willing to accept the influx of immigrants, which is what Texas Governor Greg Abbott and Governor Ron DeSantis are doing. They're basically, right, not promoting, but they are sending these illegal aliens into those states because you get the funding. You have the infrastructure. You're circumventing a federal immigration law. So you have at it. This island paradise, where celebrities and former presidents like Obama and his family reside when they're in the mood of spending taxpayer dollars, met the immigrants with the hypocrisy Governor DeSantis expected. In a statement, DeSantis said states like Massachusetts, New York, and California will better facilitate the care of these individuals who they have invited into our country by incentivizing illegal immigration through their designation as sanctuary states and support for the Biden administration's open border policy. And Chicago was no stranger to immigrants invading their state. As most know, Texas Governor Greg Abbott and Arizona Governor Doug Ducey have been busing immigrants to Washington since April and May, respectively. So Washington, New York, and Chicago are destinations because they are sanctuary cities. So these governors have taken it upon themselves to put that burden on those blue states because they get the funding. However, or rather, and of course, Mayor Lori Lightfoot cited that busing immigrants to her state, she says this is an act of a racist and unbecoming of a Christian.
Abbott's racist and xenophobic practices of expulsion have only amplified the challenges many of these migrants have experienced on their journey to find a safe place.
So what is my point? The Biden administration and blue state governors are okay with the southern border crisis they've incentivized with their open border policies for illegal immigration as long as they, the illegals, remain in the states like Texas or other states far away from their own. You have governors that are now saying, you know what? We're going to ship them to sanctuary cities because they have the infrastructure. They have the money. Okay? And since they're refraining from deporting or prosecuting illegal immigrants for crimes that they have committed in this country, then maybe they should bear the burden and the responsibility of taking them in. Folks, sure, the whole idea behind this open borders policy and the refusal to enforce federal immigration law is that it is okay to do so as long as they don't come into our states. Something that we should really think about come November. So here are my final thoughts. Again, I am not advocating any violence towards any illegal or undocumented immigrant. Not at all. What I am proposing is that we support governors' decisions like Texas Governor Greg Abbott, Arizona Governor Doug Ducey, and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, that we need to support their actions, because some of these blue states that are sanctuary cities, they want to sue these governors for busing and flying immigrants into their states. So again, there's so much hypocrisy going on here that one has to ask, hey, if you're a sanctuary city, if you are a state with sanctuary city status, then why are you complaining? You're getting the funding. That funding should have allowed you to build an infrastructure to take care of this invasion that's happening at our southern border. And of course, if you ask Kamala Harris, the vice president, right? Or Joe Biden, or geriatric president, if you ask him, is there a crisis on the border? Oh, no, there isn't. There isn't, right? But yet, when these immigrants are sent into the blue states, then there's a complaint. Then all of a sudden there's a problem. Because from the very beginning, that the Biden administration imposed the open border policies, the very beginning that the federal immigration law was dismissed by these same Democratic governors, by these same political Democratic leadership, then that should put you on notice on who needs to get thrown out of office come November. Decision is yours. Now, if you're okay with having illegal and undocumented immigrants coming into the country in droves, then you're going to have to accept the burden. But like I had mentioned twice already, the only reason that this is happening is because the Biden administration, along with sanctuary city states, have incentivized these hundreds of millions of illegal and undocumented aliens to cross the border. And that's another problem. The other problem is that a lot of these people that are making the journey, they're dying. They're dying on that journey to the United States.
You know, the administration hasn't officially released any death toll figures from the border since 2020. But Fox News has learned the number of people who have died trying to sneak into this country is way up. Sources with U.S. Customs and Border Protection tell Fox there have been 518 migrant deaths along the southern border this fiscal year, and 566 last year. That's a huge jump.
Border agents, right, are allowing the gates to be open on private properties to let the influx of immigrants into the country illegally. They're allowing it. So we need to do something. So again, like I said, I don't have nothing against them, but we do have an immigration law. It is a federal law. And if it is a crime to violate that law, then shouldn't that crime be the same? Shouldn't politicians be held accountable for breaking that law as well? I mean, I find that there's a lot of deception when it comes to what the Democratic Party is saying and doing with regards to protecting our citizens, even to protect the lives of illegal aliens that are making that journey. I mean, everybody wants to come to the United States. Hey, I get it, but there's a way to do it. We need to control it so that there are no unnecessary deaths. I mean, there are children that are dying out there in that desert. I mean, for decency's sake. Shouldn't we be concerned about those lives? So we need to do something. And if we need to vote to make it happen, then we need to vote the right way. Wake up, America. Wake up, please. Thank you.